Morning, everybody. It is Friday. It's 11:30.
Yes, it is.
And this is CEO Chat. My name is Alcini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
Hey, Joe.
Good
Good
to see
seeing you.
Always a pleasure.
No, totally.
Good.
But we got a great guest, and we've already got the conversation started with
Great.
Derek Lundsten.
Welcome,
Great to see you
Derek.
again. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Derek.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You mentioned you've been on RVN before. We had you on a segment of Morning Coffee about a month ago, and always a great guest.
Thank you.
This time we want to focus specifically on two ventures that you're involved in. I don't want to say involved. Two ventures that you're passionately committed to.
Yes.
And the first one is Scrimmage.
Yes.
Now, Joe and I are kind of in the employee engagement business, and investing in employees is a big part of what we see as a value proposition for a company.
Absolutely.
The way we learn things has changed, the way we onboard employees has changed, and you're right at the forefront of all of that with Scrimmage, aren't
Yes, that is the complete thesis for how we came to exist, right? The idea that now we have phones in our pockets all the time, we have tablets, we can learn anywhere and everywhere using those devices, and that can change the experience for how people learn, and they can learn on their own schedule, on their own time, on their own format for how they want to receive that content, and any type of content for that.
you? That's great. So a company that wants to onboard new employees,
Yeah.
instead of hiring people to do that for them, or tasking their HR department to do that for them and taking them away from their other jobs, could create an onboarding program with you and host it on Scrimmage.
Exactly.
And so tell me how that would work.
Yeah, so I think it's twofold. So then there's always a role for people, obviously, to provide education. Then there's a way to provide, a lot of people learn from that in classroom experience, but we can now record that, right? We can make micro videos, micro courses that can be distributed via people's phones or tablets, where they can go back and they can reference it at any given point in time. We can structure it in a way that they receive it every other day, or that it's posted out in some kind of schedule that's in line with their job criteria, right? So whatever that may be. And then we can assess them, we can provide games to reinforce content, we can allow them to interact with their peers, to learn from each other around best practices. All of that can be facilitated using those devices, right?
And actually you made a really good point. Most people think of computer-based training as you sit in front of a screen, things get sprayed into your brain
That's
through
the way it
the
was.
screen.
That's the way it was.
That's how it used to be. But
Correct.
we're really talking about engaging exercises and things you do on the screen
Yeah.
that reinforce the learning that's presented to you.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at kids today, right? A lot of them go to YouTube. You can look at almost anything you want to see on a YouTube video now. Search it on whatever topic, instructionals on how to put things together, how to assemble something, how to learn a language, like all these different things are courses. Look at other tools like Khan Academy and things of that nature that build robust content libraries. We're just doing the same thing, but for a corporate setting, and doing it in a way that's accessible, easy, and personalized to the user, and makes that education and training experience more fun.
And any size company can use you.
Any
right?
size company can use us.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking about the different kinds of companies, the different sizes of companies that could use this. If your employees have regulatory responsibilities,
Sure.
and they need to know what those regulations are and what the mandates are, that could be part of the program you can offer.
Certainly, and I think that's part of the opportunity is that oftentimes compliance training, regulation-based training is kind of boring, right? It's not exactly
that's why I hate
fun,
to call it
engaging
compliance
stuff,
training.
right?
It's torture.
So if you put it together in a game, or you incorporate other aspects of people communicating into the process, videos, we've seen clients make music videos to make the content more fun, push it out for the platform. There's ways to just make it so that people actually participate, and that they're actually learning the lessons that are needed.
And they're engaged. They're really engaged
100%.
in the process, right?
Now, if I'm in a manufacturing business and I'm making a change in the way my factory works, I can also create a training program to teach my employees that things are going to be different beginning on July 1st.
Absolutely.
And this is how they're going to be different.
Exactly. Pulse it out as an announcement, or again, in a video. You can put it in a central device, for example, in a facility. They can go in, they can log in, they can view that material that's for that change, whatever it is. There's all different ways
really exciting.
that you can do it.
So people out there who are watching the program, there are really two people that they need to get involved in this. You need to have a platform for delivery, which is Scrimmage.
Yes.
But you also need to have a content developer, somebody who put the material together to be delivered. Talk about how you work with content.
Yeah, so we've always been agnostic in terms of the content itself or the content partner. So it can be any type of content, like you said. And typically when we work with an organization or a company, they will have existing content providers that they've used to work with. They've either built libraries or they will custom build libraries on a certain topic. And we work with that partner, that client partner, to build the format in whatever vehicle that will be best distributed through a mobile device, right? And to make it so that they can consume it in real time and in that kind of format. And so we've worked with companies that you would know, companies like Dale Carnegie, for example, that do sales training. They're a content partner as well as a client, so we can make that material available to a company, for example. Or other content partners that want to distribute their materials, we can make recommendations to a client to use that. But we really go back to an open model, whatever makes the most sense for the organization, for their individuals, their employees, their students. They can push it out through our platform.
However, and now if somebody out there is watching and they trigger on That's the word these days, trigger. I triggered.
Yeah.
So I'm triggering on, I can create a program like this for my employees. I want to call you.
Yes.
They can call you and you can hook them up with a content partner. can't
Exactly
you?
right. Yeah, we have a whole list of partners we worked with over the lifetime of our business that we know are good in certain topics, right? Compliance being one,
Right.
sales skills being another, marketing being another, technical training, onboarding of new hires, all different stuff. I mean, there's libraries of materials. That are good.
So the conversation could start with Derek Lundsten, that's the important thing. And later on, you're going to tell everybody how to reach you.
Yes,
If,
absolutely.
you're thinking this could be a good thing, you're not sure where to start, this is the guy who can help you get started.
Absolutely. Our team is very adept at something, and that's actually one of the things that makes us really a key value as a partner is our customer service. So besides being a technology partner or provider, we also focus heavily on the customers themselves. So we, unlike many software companies, are bootstrapped. We built the business over time without outside capital, and so through good product, through good customer service, we have built a company that's now been on the Inc. 5000. We've won a number of different awards, and because it goes back to focusing on customers and making sure that we provide good quality service.
deliver the goods.
Deliver what we say we're going to do.
And you don't just deliver it and walk away from it, you
Correct.
stay there too, because these things have to evolve and change over time.
Every year.
And I mean, there are a couple of ways we can take this conversation, but
Sure.
you mentioned team.
Yeah.
How many people do you have?
We have 25 employees full-time, scattered all over the country, and we support clients on 7 or 6 continents at this point. So
Okay.
yeah,
So international clients,
International
multilingual,
multilingual applications.
You can cover all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And time. You've been in business for 8 years.
yes,
So you didn't just start yesterday.
No.
You've got an 8-year track record, and if people call and they say, "Could you give us references?" You can do that.
absolutely. Yeah, we've got lots of case studies, examples of how these, how the technology is impacting people's business in terms of driving sales revenue, in terms of providing cost savings. Actually, it's doing simultaneously both of those things for certain customers, getting their employees more proficient more quickly, creating better customer experience scores. All these are different examples that we've accumulated from our customers.
How do you differ from your competition?
So we don't worry about competition, to be
Okay.
candid. And I say that from a complete standpoint of humility.
Okay.
We focus on building products that we believe the market needs, that we look to incorporate the feedback for what our clients want, and we also provide great service. That's what we do. And
Okay.
there's a lot of companies out there that have raised a lot of venture capital
Right.
that frankly are following our marketing message. So the fact that they see us as an example is what we continue to
That
focus
tells you
on,
you're doing it right.
and we're leading the market. So I'm a big believer that we focus on what the market needs, what the customer needs, and we will create that opportunity. And there's enough to go around for everyone. I'm a big believer that there's lots of customers out there, there's lots of potential customers out there, there's a lot of evolving needs, there's room for lots of companies to be successful if they can execute well. So it's
Right.
all about execution.
You know,
doing it year after year after year.
The problem isn't that you lose business to another company.
Yeah.
The real problem is that you lose business to people who just don't do anything at all.
Exactly.
And that really is what we're trying to prevent people from doing. I mean, a lot of people might be so afraid about what you do, and that fear might prevent them from doing anything at all, and that leaves them open, that exposes them to all kinds of liabilities.
Absolutely.
And also doesn't get the job done.
It's funny you say that because the first 4 years of our company, we were always talking about mobile, right? We talk about mobility being the future, and companies would look at us and say, we have existing technology, we've made these investments, even though it's not working, because that's why we built the platform, that we told us that it was not working effectively.
Right.
We gave them an alternative, and they still were not ready to bite. And so it wasn't until they realized that the market, consumers, expected things on their mobile devices, they finally said, oh wow, we're actually behind schedule now. And now there was a big shift, and now we're in the middle of that shift, and there's still a lot of room to go. Because as I've all talked about, mobility is changing now to include voice, to include virtual reality, augmented reality, to include virtual simulations. All these things are coming in the next decade, right? And we consider those future mobile tools.
Yeah, that's where
but the
you're
phone is still, Africa, for example, I read an article the other day saying that every student in Africa by 2022 will have a tablet, right? That's an emerging economy that's just now coming online. So you think about Africa, you think about Southeast Asia, South America, countries that are going to be building infrastructure for mobility.
Right.
We have 3 billion new students / contributors to an economic system that have never been part of it before.
You just
We're
sort
going
of
to be
grow straight
facilitating
into that.
Absolutely.
But it's not just, we had a chance to talk once before too about this. It's not just about creating a training experience for somebody.
Yeah.
On an ongoing basis, you can send them ticklers by email.
Yes.
You can communicate them a million different ways.
Absolutely.
To make sure that they're staying on track with their training. Talk about how you do that.
Yeah, so I think it goes back to people learn different ways. Some people prefer to listen, some people prefer to watch a video, some people participate in the simulation. But again, notifying them on their phone, bringing them opportunities to come back to the content, reinforcing with new content, those are all ways to continue to drive engagement with the product. That's all things that we do.
And creating reports to feedback to management, telling them how many people took it, how much time they spent online, all those things you can do.
Yeah, and that's where we go back, where I think we're different than back to the traditional learning management space. The idea of managing learning, in my opinion, is a misnomer, right? The idea of inspiring learning, activating learners, inspiring curiosity, that's what we are trying to do. It's about the continuous evolution over time, over your entire life and career. But at the same time, in order to meet the market where it is today, you're absolutely right. We have to provide reports and be able to manage it in a way for the users to provide that data so they can see the value. But it goes back to that fine balance between giving users what they need and what they want, while still be able to provide to the enterprise what they expect to see to drive that value and ultimately drive the return on investment that they want to see.
And these are bespoke experiences. I mean, they're totally custom to the customer that you're working with.
Yes.
And it could be custom to the employee too, which is exciting to me. You might have an onboarding program that's everybody goes through.
Yes.
Experiences. I don't want to say goes through because that's how it used to be.
Correct.
Now they're experiencing it and being engaged by it.
Yes, and that goes back to the personalization. That goes back to data, right? All artificial intelligence and machine learning is data processing and speed to process data. So the more data that we receive, which we get lots of data in the platform, that then allows us to process it and make recommendations or predictions based on what an employee or a student would need to see based on their stated career goals, their objectives, their gaps, their needs, their profile. Those things are all what's going to be happening in the next 10 years. So you can imagine just changing how that's going to happen in education, not even just corporate education, but education more broadly. And you made that comment. You know, as a company, we're focused on transforming education. Training is only one aspect.
One aspect of it. And okay, so I've got employees and I'm onboarding them. And some of them, when they're finished with this first onboarding, go into the sales bullpen.
Yes.
Some go into the lab.
Yep.
And the truth is, you follow them no matter where they go, and the program becomes custom around their job and their role.
Exactly right. And they only see what's relevant to that job or that role. So the entire experience is so simple that whether you're 2 years old or 80 years old, you can find the content that you need to find in our product. So because it's serving it up for them in a way that they can find it and use it. The goal is that they need to be accessing it when they need to apply it, right? So creating that vehicle to do that is another example of where we are different than the old technologies, which again, we focus more on the future, less about the competition. The fact that other companies are doing it, in my opinion, is great because it means there's a lot of smart people trying to solve the same problem.
You know, listen, you're talking to people who talk to business people all the time, and the typical onboarding process is not a process at all. You come to work here, we show you your cubicle, you figure out your phone number, if you even have a phone. You learn how to log onto your computer, and that's it. How much more engaged is an employee in their jobs when you do onboarding right, like the way you do?
We've shown statistics that are like roughly 70%. And we've got actually have some papers on we have some white papers and some resources on our website that actually speak to the experience of productivity, retention, cost investment on an employee basis. So I can send that to you guys, and we can make it available to your audience.
Well, certainly people who are watching the program will probably want to contact you and learn more about that.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I think the other point that you make is that even the world of cubicles and phones and computers is quickly becoming a environment of an office of past. We're moving into, even our company, we have employees all over the country, we have virtual offices all over the country that we can be by our clients. And the idea is that your phone, you can do as much computing on your phone as you used to do on a computer, right? And so you can literally work from anywhere, work at any time, and the schedule of how people learn and optimize for people's work-life integration, not necessarily their balance, but how people, you know, when they're most productive, when they have their family time, when they're able to prioritize, and we can see in the data whether people are still getting their jobs done and how they're doing it. That's where I see and the market sees evolving over the next 10 years.
A big difference.
Because data is going to inform it.
Another area that's becoming blurry too is that people don't just employ employees anymore, they also employ contractors.
Absolutely.
And getting everybody engaged in the work, however you're paying them.
Yes.
I mean, that should just be a payroll issue. That's not a human issue.
It's both issues, actually.
So if you're building a culture where people care about the work they're doing, then a big part of that is the way you engage them in that work, and that's where that all starts with what Scrimmage does.
Absolutely. And it's also related to the other venture we're going to talk about after the break as well.
Okay.
So
all right, great. There's another. I know there's another. But I don't want to jump off this quite yet because the more we talk, the more excited I get about what Scrimmage might be able to do for somebody who's watching the program.
Absolutely.
That engagement, that whole engagement starts with a phone call to you.
Or email. You can go on our website. We're very social media too. We're omni-channel, right? So you can go on any of our social media channels. You can go on our website, and you can also go on and make a phone call and reach out to our team, and they will walk through the process.
And the first conversation with Derek or with an associate of yours is a free conversation to explore where we might be able to go.
Absolutely.
That's great. Listen, we need to take a break. I want to come back, and we're going to talk about life guides too.
Sure.
But when we come back after the break, I want to talk about companies that are concerned about occupational safety.
Sure.
I've done work at companies like DuPont and Merck, and let's talk a little bit more about Scrimmage and how you solve that problem.
Sounds great.
And then we'll get started on life guides.
Okay. Perfect.
Back with more CEO chat and a terrific guest, Derek Lundsten, who knows a lot after these messages.
Stick around.
Great. Well.
Industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RV and TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
That was that period of time when people just sort of watch us milling around. And we finished with the milling period and we're back into the grilling.
Awesome.
Now we're back into the grilling period.
Right.
I'm Al-Cini. This is CEO Chat. I'm Al-Cini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
And this is Derek Lundsten, who is a pioneer, really, in workforce preparation.
Thank you.
I mean, really, and that's it. It's a very, very broad subject. Before the break, we started to talk about occupational safety because I've worked with a lot of companies, like DuPont, for example, that are very concerned about safety in a plant or in a warehouse. How do you help solve problems like that?
Yeah, so again, it goes back to recording material or creating games or creating simulations or creating documentation regarding what the policies are, the procedures are, what best practices are, and taking that and distributing that to those users in a way that they can consume it, and we measure that, and they can take an exam on that, and shows that they've completed and have obtained the credentials, so to speak, that they need in order to do their job effectively and safely. And there's reporting transcripts that are available to articulate that.
Well, there was a little lesson buried in what you said. I mean, that best practices.
Yeah.
A best practice that's kept in the boardroom that only 5 people know can't be patterned by the 20,000 people who work
Exactly.
here, unless it's communicated out
Exactly. And it's a communication, and it's all about communication, right? The idea is that you can communicate with people 24/7 using their devices, right? Literally, you can send messages, think about how you consume your news, you consume your social media, education, learning, training can be done the same way and as part of that daily flow, part of that routine. It should be a daily routine.
Okay. Well, now we're going to change gears. Now we're talking about coping with life crises and dealing with challenges in our personal lives.
Yeah.
You've got another company that you've just spun up called Life Guides.
Yeah, so I was one of the early investors. I'm a board member, and we essentially are helping people cope with life challenges. The idea is that everyone goes through challenges in their life, whether it be caring for your loved ones as they age, whether it be going through a divorce, whether it be raising children, whether it be going through a job transition. There's hundreds of life challenges, right? And I'm sure that each of us have gone through some kind of challenge in our life that allows us and gives us credibility to provide our experience.
Joe and I have gone through 3 today.
Exactly. There you go. See, we got you guys signed up.
It's not even noon for crying out loud.
But the idea is that you can share that wisdom with someone who's going through that challenge for the first time, right?
Sure.
And so what we do is we use technology to match people for the purpose of getting that peer-to-peer coaching and network and mentoring to help people thrive and move through these challenges more quickly, more effectively, and better resourced. And to do it at a level that's financially affordable, so that people that couldn't afford therapists or expensive professional coaches or masterminds and things like that we all participate as business executives, making this available to people that are going to help them to be more productive and contributing members of society at large, because they're more mentally and
because they're
spiritually
more in the game.
healthy.
They put some things aside, and now they can focus on what it is they're trying to accomplish in their lives.
Yes.
Okay, it's called Life Guides.
Lifeguides.com.
And I may have a personal problem that I'm coping with, and I'm not sure where to go, and I could start with Life Guides, and you'll learn enough about me to be able to refer me to a life coach who can help me a
guide.
one-on-one.
Yep, a guide.
I'm not dealing with an AI robot here.
Correct.
I'm dealing with being connected to another human being.
It's exactly right. So part of the business objective is to actually create 25 million jobs that are going to replace the jobs that potentially are disrupted by robotics, automation, and so forth. Right. The idea is that we're uniquely human, so your unique human experience can be communicated to someone else who's going through their own unique human experience, and facilitating it in a way using technology to get the best people communicating with each other that are going to match and up-level the game, so to speak.
Right.
But to do it at a point that it's a virtuous cycle. Everyone can provide and receive wisdom in that conversation, and potentially other conversations, because everyone goes through different challenges, right? So it's basically what happens in life. Everyone goes through their own things, but we kind of cope or struggle alone. The idea being now that we're helping people accelerate through that process because we're matching them and guiding them, or they're guiding themselves because they're actively participating in that process.
Okay, so as an individual, I can start by by connecting with Lifeguides.
Go on
You're going to tell
lifeguides.com.
everybody where to go.
Lifeguides.com and fill in a form, and especially with companies that want to show that they care about their employees and recognize that life outside of work has a big impact on their life in work. Companies can offer this to their employees and their spouses.
To me, that's a huge value proposition
Absolutely.
right there. So a company with 500 employees, 50 employees,
all the above.
Doesn't make any difference.
50, 500, 5,000, the entire spectrum.
I can include in my employee prospectus, come to work here, we'll help you get the help you need to live your life so that you can be more involved in your work.
You got it.
Wow, what a great value proposition.
Cost effective too. That's a great part about it.
Now,
Very
when did you start this?
This was about 2 years ago is when we first started building the team. We started building investors, the technology. We just launched in Q4 of last year, right before the holidays, and so we're just now entering the launch phase, so to speak. And so, in fact, 2 weeks ago we were out. We received an award from Peter Diamandis of the X Prize for the Abundance Impact Challenge, because at the end of the day, we're one of 10,000 companies that applied. At the end of the day, the goal for this company, which is a public benefit corporation, is to measurably reduce suffering / help people thrive more effectively for 1 billion people within 15 years, while creating 25 million jobs and a sustainable enterprise. We're a big, it's a moonshot type of company.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's interesting too, because there is a trend in business to become more socially conscious and more socially aware and more involved in the community. There is no better way to become more involved in the community than by offering a program like this to your employees.
Absolutely, and you can see the common theme here, which is education and just personal development that kind of comes here with
but they're different companies.
Different companies, totally different companies.
Totally different.
But with common goals, in the sense that if you help have a more educated, more engaged group of people, they can create more, they can be more additive, they can have healthier lives, and that helps everyone at whole.
So then you're playing the safe bet that human beings are not going to be replaced by robots in the next 10 years.
Well, even if they are, there'll be better outputs and opportunities for them to even add more value to society.
Be better equipped to move up and do the things robots will never be able to.
Correct.
Because there are plenty of those.
Yes.
So I think that being able to cope with a world that's evolving in ways we can't predict is what both those businesses sound like they're aimed at, and I think
I'm glad you recognize that.
That's really very exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in Lifeguides then, you're not just looking for customers. There could be a company that wants to call you to offer this as a benefit for their employees.
Yeah, those are our customers, right? So it's both companies and individuals would be potential customers, and then obviously we're always creating a guide community. So people that have gone through that particular challenge and are now thriving have the ability to tell their story or share their experience with others. And so they go through. There's a process where they're evaluated, screened, and trained on how they can provide coaching and guidance. And
so you're looking to build your
both sides.
Community of coaches.
Absolutely.
So anybody out there who provides life coaching should contact you to see about becoming a member of your community.
Absolutely.
And how about investment opportunities? Are there people out there who might?
Yeah, so we've raised a seed round to this point with some very successful investors that are ranging from people like David Gardner from The Motley Fool, if you've ever heard of that publication, or Raj Sisodia from Conscious Capitalism, or Will Bunker, who was the founder of Match.com. Those are some examples of the investors that are currently in the.
So it's a chance for an investor out there who wants to get in on the ground floor to join that company of great people.
Yes.
And they're betting on a horse that's already run a race. Scrimmage is 8 years old. It's successful. You know how to do this.
Almost every single person in the core team of Lifeguides now is also built successful companies in their previous career.
Okay.
So
wealth of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like a sure thing.
Well,
Yeah.
from your mouth to God's ears.
Good luck with that. Okay, we're at the end of our program. So, Derek, this is your opportunity to look in your camera. Tell everybody how to reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me at derek@wescrimmage.com is my email, or on any of our social media channels at WeScrimmage. And again, if you want to learn more about Life Guides, lifeguides.com.
Derek Lundsten, what a great, how
you.
long was the show?
Yeah.
It felt like 10 minutes.
It did go by very quickly.
We covered a lot, but you had a lot to offer. So I hope people will take you up on your offer of allowing them to reach out to you. And thanks all of you for joining us today on CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini.
I'm still Joe Wassamandi.
We'll be back next Friday, like it or not.
Yep.
And have a great weekend.
Have a good
Thanks,
weekend.
guys.
Be safe. We'll see you next week.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Derek.